It's an absolute honour to have you here for us tonight, celebrating independent filmmaking. Can you talk a little bit about what, for you, independent cinema gives both storytellers and an audience they perhaps don't get from other forms of cinema?
I suppose it depends on your definition, doesn't it? I mean, to me, it's world cinema. Hollywood is becoming ever bigger and more bloated and more expensive and less personal and dumber. So to sort of plant a flag here for clever, smaller films, but which nevertheless have an extraordinary ambition, I think is vitally important. So it's a lovely, obviously very glamorous night, but it's also it's important that we're making a statement about what British film is, and it's an incredibly healthy state that it's in. I was just saying earlier about, we've all lived through those false dawns where a film like Slumdog or Chariots of Fire, briefly everyone gets very excited and then it all dies away again. But I think the last few years we've really started to find our feet again as an actual British film industry. There's so much stuff nominated tonight which is absolutely world class and world beating.
Do you think that the success of our small screen exports has been a big part in fueling that renewed interest and enthusiasm for our performing arts?
Well, it's quite possible. I mean, it seems to me that the bigger and dumber that movies get, the more television actually starts to thrive, and really the moment high-end television is where it's at in terms of big stuff, people committing to massive box sets of epic series in a way they just wouldn't have done a few years ago. So in a way I think British independent film reflects much more of that sort of bespoke mentalities. That people want clever stuff, they want ideas, they want great performance pieces, but they also just want it to feel like it's got proper heart and proper integrity.
Fans were so delighted for the return of the League. Can you talk a little bit about what it means for you to have that portion of your storytelling life continue, to be able to work again with these wonderful people, with Steve and the rest of the gang?
Well, it's been lovely. I mean, the main thing to stress, as I've said in every interview, is we did it because we want to, not because we have to, and that makes a huge difference. There's no sense of being a chore. We just thought it would be fun. We've been talking about doing something for a long time, and we realised that if we didn't actually map out the time, we'd never do it. So we just did. And it was actually a very short shoot, pretty intense, but fun. We just had a really good laugh, and I think that's the key to the whole thing. And I'm very proud of the episodes. I've already joked that we only did it to stop people saying, will you ever do it anymore? And now, of course, all people are saying is, are you going to do it anymore? We've left Sherlock in a place where we could totally leave it, or we could equally come back. We have no immediate plans. Stephen and I are doing Dracula next. So it certainly won't be for a while. I mean, it's odd to think there might never be any more, but equally it might be, best to leave it. The Fawlty Towers model always looms large. The only thing that slightly annoys me is if we'd done one more, we'd have done just as many films as Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce, and there would have been something very satisfying about that. But never say never.
On the subject of Dracula, again, we've seen so many different iterations of that iconic story. What is it that most excited you about getting your chance to explore that character in that world?
It's early days. I mean, we've got a good idea for it, I think, and we haven't in any way settled on exactly how we're doing it, but it's just, the thing is, like Conan Doyle, a lot of people think they know it or think they've read it and they haven't. And Bram Stoker's Dracula is such a brilliant book. And when you actually read it, it's such a page turner. It's a very modern novel, really exciting, brilliant stuff. So I think it was, in a way, as with Doyle, it's sort of like going back to the original and finding everything that still works and sort of representing it, I suppose.